In 1977, a science fiction was created which changed the world. This science fiction captured the heart of thousands upon thousands of people. This science fiction was known as Star Wars. Star Wars: A New Hope, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi. Over 30 years after the original trilogy, George Lucas is bringing the original trilogy and episode 1, 2, and 3 to high-definition Blu-ray. That is to say, I was pretty darn excited. In fact, I was so excited for this Blu-ray of Star Wars that I pre-ordered my copy. But just a few days ago, I canceled my pre-order of Star Wars on Blu-ray. But why, Mr. Repzion? You love Star Wars! You're completely right. I love Star Wars. I love the original 4, 5, and 6, and a little bit of episode 3, but it was still pretty bad. George Lucas needs to leave the original Star Wars trilogy alone. Leave Star Wars alone! For those of you who don't know, George Lucas seems to have brought out his surgical tools and is performing, or has already performed, plastic surgery on Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6. He's made changes to the original trilogy, and a lot of these are small changes that really didn't bother me until I watched a video clip of the biggest change he made to Star Wars Episode 6. For those of you who haven't seen Star Wars Episode 3, Darth Vader breaking his handcuffs, stepping down, and doing this long, pathetic, and everybody made fun of it, this long, pathetic basically, it was like a 3 to 4, 5 second, super long, screaming, no! That is to say, in Star Wars Episode 6, when Emperor Palpatine is electrifying Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker is screaming in agony and pain, Father! No! Help me! Yeah, I know that was a bad impression. But when he's screaming for his father's help, the camera looks at Darth Vader's mask, and at his mask you see an emotionless, blank stare. But at the same time, you see Darth Vader's face look towards the Emperor and towards his son, back and forth. You see Darth Vader having conflicting emotions with his decision to whether to save his son or not. And then Darth Vader decides that he's going to save his son and picks the Emperor up while he's electrifying Luke, only to be electrified to himself by the Emperor and throws him over the ledge. This, for me, was one of the most impacting scenes in the Star Wars series. However, George Lucas seems to have performed plastic surgery and ruined one of the second most greatest scenes in Star Wars. In the Blu-ray edition of Star Wars, George Lucas put the audio of Star Wars Episode 3 of Darth Vader saying no and no twice in this original scene. So instead of Darth Vader being emotionless and having conflicting emotions and then throwing the Emperor over the ledge without saying a single word, he then screams, no! No! And this is why I canceled my pre-order of Star Wars. As I try to perpend to why George Lucas ruined the original trilogy, the only reason I can come up with is he's really just that stupid. But it could be also that he hasn't gotten laid in 30 years. George Lucas must sit on his cradle of power, sitting there thinking of how he can sabotage the original trilogy with a cup of coffee and him eating donuts. How could I ruin the original Star Wars trilogy? The funny thing is, though, I quote, people who alter or destroy works of art and our culture for profit or an exercise of power are barbarians. Wow, did you see that coming? You yourself, George Lucas, just admitted that you are a barbaric monstrosity. You said this in 1988, yet today it is 2011 and you have turned into a barbaric monster. You only care about money. You do not possess the ability to direct movies anymore. You only care about feeding your double chin. Because what do you want? More and more money. You, Georgie, are nothing more than a barbaric fat monster who only cares about money, has no ability to direct films any longer. I mean, I admit you did a pretty good job with the original Star Wars movies. After 30 years, eating all those donuts and coffee must be getting to your brain. So those are my reasons, George Lucas, why I canceled Star Wars on Blu-ray, and you will not be getting a single cent from me.